So we are given an integer n as input and we have to form a pattern like this. So let us see how this pattern is formed. It is given in the question that the number of rows in our output pattern can be determined using the formula like this. So the total number of rows in our output must be n minus 1 by 2. So the value of n is 17. 17 minus 1 is 16 and when divided by 2 it is 8. So our output must contain totally 8 rows. So this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8. So our output contains 8 rows and the number of columns is equal to the value of n. So the value of n is 17. So in every row we will be printing 17 characters. Now let us see how the characters are printed in this pattern. Here only the first line of our output contains asterisks and plus. All the remaining lines contains hashes and plus. And we can also observe that from the second line a unique pattern is being followed. So in the second line the first character is a hash, the middle character is a hash and the last character is a hash. And then in the third line the first two characters are hash, the last two characters are hash, and for middle a hash is added before and after it. And then in the fourth line now the first three characters are hash, last three characters are hash, and earlier in the middle there were three hashes and now again one is added in the left and one is added in the right. So like this the hashes are being included in every row and at one stage every characters in the row becomes hash. So this is how the pattern is printed from the second row of our output. Now here we can see that the first row is same as the second row, but instead of hashes we are printing asterisks. So this is the only difference. So to print this pattern we will be using 4 integer variables: start, end, middle left and middle right. So here the start will be used for printing hashes at the beginning and the integer end will be used for printing hashes at the end, and the two integers middle left and middle right will be used to print the hashes in the middle. So initially the value of start will be 0 and n will be c minus 1 and middle left and middle right will be c by 2. So both will be initially pointing the middlemost character, and in every iteration we will increment the start because first it was only one character and then it becomes 2. So we should increment the value of start, and we will also decrement the value of end because earlier it was at c minus 1. Now all the characters from c minus 2 are asterisks. So from c minus 2 we must print asterisks till c minus 1. So only when we decrement the value of end we will be able to print 2 asterisks in the next line. So we decrement the value of end, and initially the value of middle left and middle right would be pointing to this middle, but in the next iteration we will decrement the value of middle left and increment the value of middle right. So now the middle left would be this and the middle right would be this, and all the integers between middle left and middle right will be replaced with asterisks. So like this it keeps on incrementing. So we will get our desired pattern. Now let us see how to write a C program for this. So first I am creating an integer n, and in the next line I am accepting the integer n as input, and then I am creating 2 integer variables r and c. So the integer r is the number of rows and the number of rows will be n minus 1 by 2 and the number of columns will be n. So for c I am assigning the value n, and then I am creating that 4 integer variables: start, end, middle left and middle right. So for the integer start I am initially assigning 0, and for end I am assigning c minus 1, and for middle left and middle right I am assigning c by 2. So now we have to print the first line of our output pattern, because the first line alone is made up of asterisks and plus. So we are going to print the first line alone separately using a loop. So I am creating a loop that iterates from 0 to c, and in every iteration of this loop, if the value of j is equal to start or j is equal to middle left or j is equal to end, I am going to print asterisk. In all the remaining cases I am going to print plus, because in the first line of our output, only the first, the last and the middle character were asterisks. All the remaining were plus. So this is why we are including the condition if j is equal to start or middle or end. And after printing the first line, we are also printing a new line. So now let us print all the remaining lines of our output pattern. So all the remaining rows followed a unique pattern. So I'm going to create a nested for loop. So the first loop iterates from 1 till r because we have already printed a line. So that is why we are iterating from 1. And in every iteration of this I loop, as we discussed, I am incrementing the value of start and decrementing the value of end. And I am incrementing the value of middle right and decrementing the value of middle left. So the ranges will be correct. And in every iteration of this I loop, I am also creating a loop that iterates from 0 to c. And in every iteration, if j is less than start or j is greater than end, or j is greater than middle left and j is less than middle right, I am going to print hash, else I am going to print plus. And in every iteration of this I loop, I am also printing a new line. So we will get our desired output. So now let us check our program with the input. So now I have given the input as 17. So let us see the pattern. So we get our expected pattern. The first row alone is made with asterisk plus and the remaining rows are made with hash and plus. And the hashes are also increasing one by one. So this is our expected pattern. So let us give 21. So again we get the correct pattern as our output. So this is the logic behind today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.